Welcome to the Sent from Disneyland podcast.
Here age relives fond memories of the past.
If it's your first time joining us, welcome. On this episode, we'll take a journey into the past and explore Disneyland and Disneyland history with mementos, snapshots, and postcards sent from Disneyland from 1955 to the present. Today I'm starting off by thanking my patrons from patreon.com. You can join and receive mail from my desk or from my Disneyland trips. Special thanks to Random Olive, the first patron to this podcast, and to the e-ticket patrons Tania, Eric Daniels, Joe Gamble, Scott Booker, Monica Seitz Vega, Russ Romano, Michael and Christina Cross, Scott Cagle, and Sheila Harry. C-ticket patrons Serious Inquiries Only, Debbie Weinstein, Jennifer Schneep, Grace Coate, Ben and Noel Bruning, Patty Wolin, Angela Reynolds, and Aaron Moran. B-ticket patrons The Disney Rewind Podcast, Jeff and Paige Orton, and Joshua, and Exorable Tosh Bell. And the A-ticket patrons, Elise Sharp, Zealot Infinity, Alexis Robles, Maggie and Henry Byers, Angel DeBlois, and the All Aboard podcast. You can also sign up for my new newsletter for a chance to get some postcards delivered by the USPS to your mailbox. I am your host, your post-host Clocky, and today we have 2 postcards sent from Disneyland. The front of our first postcard has Main Street Station with the Ernest S. Marsh pulling a passenger train over the Floral Mickey. The top right-hand corner in pink lettering, it reads, Greetings from Disneyland. On the back it reads, Guests entering Disneyland are greeted by a floral Mickey Mouse and the Santa Fe and Disneyland Depot, where a scaled-down model of a passenger train of another era puffs out of the station to take them on a scenic tour of Disneyland. It's postmarked December 30th, 1977, with a Santa Ana cancel and a 9-cent green and gray Right of People Peaceably to Assemble Capitol Dome postage stamp, Scott number 1591. I assume they visit the park on Thursday, December 29th, 1977, when park hours were from 8 a.m. to midnight. The weather was a high of 67 and a low of 58, with 0.41 inches of precipitation. It's addressed to a Mr. and Mrs. John Nelson of Sharon, Wisconsin. It reads, Hi, how are you? How's the cold weather? We are having a great time. Weather has been raining, but it's still warm, 60 and 70 degrees. Chris is being very good and having a wonderful time. We are going to Hollywood soon. We went swimming today. We are wearing shorts. It's just great. The airplane was really nice too. See you when we get back. Sincerely, Steve, Joanne, and Chris. Before we get started, I wanted to mention the Sharon, Wisconsin weather was colder than usual in 1977 and had highs ranging from 5 degrees to the low 20s at the end of December. I'm sure 67 degrees with a little rain was perfect for swimming. Recently, I was asked about my sweet spot at Disneyland. This got me thinking about my favorite places to write postcards, my favorite places to people watch, and my favorite places to turn off and just enjoy the park. I chose this Main Street postcard because it's the land where I've probably written and sent most of my postcards. If you include the hub and the main gate, there are 10 mailboxes on or around Main Street. Although I try to spread out my postcards, sending them to all the boxes, the last mailbox by the exit has received a larger share of my sent postcards as I leave the park. Main Street also has great places to write postcards. When it's too hot outside, I'll hop into the Main Street Opera House and sit on one of the interior benches and either write, address, or stamp postcards. Also, during the day, it isn't too busy. My other favorite Main Street locations include Plaza Inn and the Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe. Both have plenty of tables and offer great views of Sleeping Beauty Castle and the Matterhorn while I write. I'll also find just an empty bench on Main Street to enjoy while writing postcards. Most of my other favorite locations to write postcards around the park are restaurants, like a table at the Hungry Bear, where you can hear the Disneyland Railroad steam past and watch the rivers of America. The Golden Horseshoe is another great place to get out of the weather, either heat or rain. I try to grab one of the 2 booths on the side of the stage. It has a great view, and there are less people and strollers bumping into you while you're writing. Once I snagged a booth with my friend Jamie. We had chicken tenders and wrote postcards for at least an hour and a half and listened to 2 performances of the Golden Horseshoe piano player. Sometimes at the Golden Horseshoe, I'll head upstairs and to the back of the balcony, which has longer tables and is great to spread out mailing materials. Last year I spent some good time up there attaching vintage stamps to postcards. Having the long tables made it easier to spread out the postcards to allow the glue to dry. There's one attraction I enjoy writing while writing postcards. The middle level of the Mark Twain has a stand-up bar area, and the attraction is just long enough for me to write, address, and stamp about 3 to 4 postcards. Great news, Enfield Post is back up on Etsy. Grabbing some vintage stamps is a great way to plus your mail, whether you're trying to match the color of your postcard or envelope or adding a themed stamp to the back of your mail. Be sure to check out Enfield Post. You can head over to enfieldpost.com and explore all the different vintage stamps you can use on your next card or letter. That's ENFIELDPOST on Instagram and enfieldpost.com for your wedding and vintage postage needs. Enfield Post is the official postage stamp sponsor of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. The front of our next postcard has the Mark Twain, filled with guests passing Cascade Peak and its waterfalls. On the back it reads, "The Mark Twain steamboat passes Cascade Peak and its beautiful waterfalls, one of the newest additions to Frontierland, as it continues on a journey down the rivers of America." It's postmarked July 5, 1972, with a U.S. Postal Service cancel and a 6-cent Eisenhower postage stamp, Scott number 1393. I assume they visited the park on Monday, July 3, 1972, when park hours were from 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. The weather was a high of 79 and a low of 60. It's addressed to Mr. and Mrs. M.A. Thomas of Toledo, Oregon. It reads, July 3rd. Hi, we are here. We rode this boat. My, what a place. My feet are killing me. We are in Ye Old Opry House waiting for a free show so Howard can see the girlies. Love yas, Babe, Howard, and Granny. When I'm at the park, I do enjoy people watching. Last year I sent out a few postcards with stuff I overheard at the park. I'll probably do that again. It's a great way to send something personal and funny to a friend. I really enjoyed New Orleans Square as a people-watching destination. So many people walking by, going in and out of the shops, or exiting Pirates of the Caribbean. When the park gets too busy or I just need a timeout, I head straight to the Disneyland Railroad. It's also a great place to people watch, as you pick up guests throughout the park and see guests as you pull up to each station. Whether it's day or night, the train is a relaxing and continuous attraction. It's also a great attraction to enjoy while deciding what to do next. Sometimes I'll scroll through the Disneyland app and look at my food options, and order while the train takes me to the closest station. Another great place to get out of the crowds and enjoy the park is Tom Sawyer Island. I especially like the east side of the island, near the water wheel. On non-windy days, it's a good place to enjoy the distant sounds of the park and either write some postcards or just enjoy a little solitude in a busy place. This incoming postcard is sponsored by the Art Throwdown. Art Throwdown, or ATD, is an online craft hour on Instagram, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. Be sure to check out Monday's ATD, which is usually hosted by paper artist Russ Romano. I've seen many amazing art projects, learned about awesome postmarks, postage stamp history, and a lot more on different episodes. It's great to stop in for an hour to watch someone craft or design something unique. Each host brings something a little different to each show. I'll list some of the regular hosts, or you can follow Russ Romano 2021 on Instagram. The front of my incoming postcard has Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Pluto, Goofy, Donald Duck, Chip, and Dale celebrating in front of some Disneyland Resort park icons, including the Matterhorn, Sleeping Beauty Castle, Carthay Circle, and Mickey's Fun Wheel. The postcard is lenticular and includes the year 2019 written above with fireworks around the top of the icons. It's postmarked July 18th, 2019, with a Santa Ana cancel and the 2019 Love Forever postage stamp, Scott number 5339. It reads, Hello, love you. Auntie Patty, happy birthday Disneyland. Thank you so much for the postcard, Auntie Patty. I was sorting through my old mail and found this postcard and thought, what perfect timing, as Disneyland's anniversary is on Monday. I will not be at Disneyland on Monday, but I know some friends who will be spending some time and enjoying themselves at the park. I may need to plan to be there for the official 75th anniversary in 2030. This also makes me want to make a lenticular postcard. I haven't seen one of the parks for a while. Thanks for listening to Sent from Disneyland. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and tell your friends. It would be awesome to share your favorite episode. There are over 100 episodes to choose from. It would also help to leave a 5-star rating and comment at whatever podcast platform you use. If you'd like to support the show financially, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/sentfromdisneyland. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Sent from Disneyland, or on Twitter at Sent from Disney. For questions and comments, send me a postcard addressed to Sent from Disneyland, P.O. Box 44, Hood, California, 95639. This podcast is not affiliated with Disney, the United States Postal Service, or any post office or Disney properties. Opinions expressed on this podcast belong to its host and guests of the Sent from Disneyland podcast.